a place I don't usually go to for news, but nonetheless followed a link and was rewarded with a story that, well, how do you know, what is that, confirmation bias when you read something that confirms all of your feelings, whether or not it's right or not? Tony Scott at Jalopnik wrote a story called A Cultural Arms Race about big trucks and why big trucks are so popular. And we've certainly said this many times. I don't know that this is going to be a long discussion, but I want to just reassert this fact that is inarguable. Everyone, the most popular vehicle for the last 39 years, so it says in Tony Scott's article, the Ford F-150 truck. And everybody's like, Americans love trucks. There's kind of another reason for that. Americans do love big trucks, especially big, huge, aggressive, 6-foot tall at the hood trucks that'll run over children and never disturb you in the comfortable leather cabin with cup holders and surround sound. The reason, as usual, boils down to money, and that our government, heavily subsidizes truck purchases, especially if you're a business. And part of that subsidizing is also not penalizing as they would a sedan. For instance, if you had a truck or a sedan that got 8 miles per gallon, like many trucks do these days, that sedan would cost $7,000 more than an equivalent truck because we bang the sedan for not having good gas mileage, but we give the truck a pass. In other words, even these trucks that cost $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 and that are going for 6, 8, 10-year car loans are still subsidized out of our pockets because they're not paying taxes that people who buy sedans would. So think about that the next time that huge F-150 Raptor comes up on your back end in your little sedan and rides your tail because you're not going fast enough in the right-hand lane, that you help pay for that vehicle.
I might also add, if you're at the front of the stoplight and black Model X pulls up next to you, dust your ass. Same reason.
Okay.
It was cheaper than my Model S because it weighs over 6,000 pounds. So they just gotta tweak their formula to say, hey, if it's a guzzler, you don't get it. If it's clean, okay. But it is the least fuel efficient electric car on the road, excluding the the new SUVs from all the people who are Tesla killers.
The whole idea that there's a tax incentive based on the weight of a vehicle is ridiculous.
It does more damage to the road. Yeah.
Yeah, if anything, it should be the other way around because, like you said, they do more damage to the road. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't a Tesla story, Tony. It was a Casey story.
So Tony makes a lot of really good. Just as bad. Tony makes a lot of really good points here. Talking about not only, like you said, Russell, the tax credits, essentially that we give them, by not punishing these vehicles that get 8.6 miles per gallon on average. The ones that are statistically and provably more damaging to the environment, less safe for the drivers, and less safe for all the other cars that are on the road. Not to mention that you can't see around them or through them or over them. She goes through and ticks off every single thing it is that those of us who don't like trucks don't like about trucks. But then she circles back as a truck owner, as a expedition owner, I should say, about her huge 7 to 10 passenger expedition and her living in Texas when all the power went out and she lost power. And there were 3 of them living in the house with some pets. And they threw a bunch of supplies in the back and they all piled in the expedition and they drove to go stay with someone else. And she said, I never could have done anything like that in a small sedan. And in fact, she has sedans and had to take the truck in order to get out. And then wraps it all around to that was an edge situation. And that's where she started. That's even where she started the article. People buy trucks for the edge situations. I'm going to buy this truck in case I have to haul 8 sheets of 4x8 plywood someday. Or I'm going to run out and buy something and I'm going to need a truck to haul it with.
Twice in the entire 8 years they have the vehicle.
Exactly, twice. And I'm just going to tell you real quick
But
the story
they didn't
I
have to
had.
rent a vehicle at Home Depot.
Yeah, they only had to pay 8 years for the vehicle they didn't need.
Exactly.
Yeah, and when I bought my Prius in 2004, I had a guy at work, because it was a relatively small car. It hauls more than people think, but he just looked at it, and they said, "Well, yeah, but what if you have to haul something?" And we were in the hallway at work, and he said, "What if it hauls something?" And at that point, a coworker named Clay, who's just as down home good old boy as his name would indicate, happened to be walking down the hall, and I turned around and I yelled, "Hey Clay, can I borrow your truck this weekend?" And he turned around and said, "You better bring it back full." Right. And I turned to the other guy and said, "That's what I do when I need a truck."